Welcome everybody to the Center for Teaching Excellence seminar or workshop on PowerPoints that don't suck. And anyway, I want to thank you guys for being here, present in person and some of you online. I think that's awesome that you're taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. I was debating and I tried really hard to not use a PowerPoint, but I couldn't. In the end, I used the PowerPoint, and as you can see from this first slide, I'm not sure.
Hello, Mary. Well, it's a good thing that I
not sucking at
sent
PowerPoint,
that over to you.
but we're gonna work through it. Okay?
What we did.
So, using PowerPoints that don't suck. Okay, so this session will go over the techniques that are supposed to improve your use of different slides, whatever you're using, whether it's PowerPoint or Google Slides or whatever.
Okay, so
hopefully make it
this
so
might be helpful.
things become more engaging, or at least you have the tools that will help.
I was able to
make the use of these necessary PowerPoints more fun for your students and everything. Okay, someone needs to mute.
Yeah, I'm muting everybody here.
Okay, good. All right, so let's move on then. Okay, how to make your PowerPoints not suck. Here are some tips to avoid giving a boring PowerPoint presentation. Start with a strong introduction. Your introduction should grab your audience's attention and make them want to listen to what you have to say. You can do this by using a strong visual telling story or asking a question. You feel it. How do you feel about this?
Too much.
That's
a good immigration.
It sucks. Okay, so obviously I put this here for a reason. They're not bad things. These things, they're okay, right? Start with a strong introduction, use visuals to support your PowerPoints, keep your slides concise, use a variety of fonts and colors, practice your PowerPoint, deliver your presentation with energy, and take questions. This is not bad, right? But the presentation section of it is not the best. Why would that be? So, what do you think is wrong with what you saw so far? What do you identify?
You never let your audience multitask, and so you're reading and listening at the same time.
Oh, reading and listening. Don't let your audience multitask. Okay, we'll see if we can do that. Anything else? Yes.
Well, you were disobeying like all of the rules.
All right, I'm disobeying all the rules. I like that. Good. Anything else that you guys observed? I'll go back to this.
The editing errors.
Editing, right? The titles got some issues. What issues do we see with the titles? There's grammar, style, capitalization, right? So there are
distraction.
there's distractions, right? You see, and they're like, macro, mate, what? Anyway, so there's some issues, right? What?
You were just reading it.
I was just reading it. That's also super boring, right? You're just sitting there. That's right. Jose says that I was just reading, which is accurate, right? So too much text that we're seeing all at once. The students can hardly read that, right? The fonts are too small. Because of that, obviously they don't see it. Let's see, spelling and style errors. We saw some in the title. No animations, right? It's all kind of just all appears at once. We don't get to focus on what we want to focus, which again doesn't help. Presentation slide design is non-existent, like you're seeing on this slide right now. There are no graphics, no, it's just nothing, right? It's just boring, basic, what do you call this? This is the Calibri font, which is the default font, and just some bullets. Monotone voice, right? When somebody starts reading just like a long text, they just start becoming like the text they're seeing, which is just one note, which is obviously something we don't want to do. And we don't even know who's the presenter, right? We haven't talked about who's presenting, why they're presenting. We don't know the pedagogical implications of why we're even watching, what we're watching, right? We got the title, so we got some of it, but not very good. Okay, so let's try again. Hopefully this time, maybe it's a little better. So here we go. We got some design elements. There's some graphics. It's the exact same thing. Nothing's really changed. It's got just a slight bit more information. Now, how do you get from something that looks like this to something that looks like this? What do you guys think? Do you guys have, what do you do?
You spend a whole lot more time on it.
I am here to tell you that you don't have to spend almost any time on this. Hopefully this will make your lives
You have
just
a good master slide set up behind it.
a good master slide. You got the techniques. This is good. All right, so then here would be a first slide in that same, these would be the same bullet points. We're not going to go through all those bullet points. And I'll tell you in a second why, but this would be a better way of showing it where you're keeping your title on one side and then the smaller piece of text on the other side. The font is bigger, it's easier to see. Our colors match earlier colors, and they'll match slides that will come after it, thus making the presentation be more cohesive. So in that way, the design is better, it's more readable. Okay, this is still not great, but it's okay. At least we know what we're doing. Okay, so I still have not introduced myself, nor gotten into a lot more things. So let's get there, right? So I've made this more conversational because I think these PowerPoints need to be conversational, because our classes need to be conversational. That's how we remember things. That's how, when we participate, we get so much more, right? The instructor feeds off the energy in the class feeds off the energy of the professor, and it's more. Okay, so just a little bit about myself. This is me. I'm a lecturer here in the Department of World Languages and Literatures. My focus is immigration studies and human mobility, and I study film and literature and music and how immigrants are represented in those media. So that's just a little bit about me. I just had a baby. Baby's really cute, healthy, and the other babies, as you can see, a great number of them. Awesome. So this is me, and in between all these, I do this presentation and many other things. Okay, so what's the plan? My plan is to show you, at least according to my limited understanding. I don't profess to be a PowerPoint magi or anything, but I do like technology and stuff. Thank you, Linda. And hopefully I can bring you some of those tools to you. So, all right, how not to suck at PowerPoint. Okay, you need to know how to use the app. All of these apps like Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and pick your other things, they seem fairly simple. They present you with like very simple things. They give you some templates and go ahead, but they're actually quite complex, and they have many features that are not immediately apparent to a user. And I think many of us would do really well to take a class like PowerPoint, so you get to learn some of these features that are not immediately apparent. So we need to know some of those features in order to make best use of them. Obviously, pedagogically, you can't have a PowerPoint or a lesson without a lesson plan. And oh my gosh, when I was a grad student, I just hated the idea of a lesson plan. They would always ask me, where's your lesson plan? What are your objectives? And what are you doing everything? And despite how annoying that may be, it's actually incredibly important, because it helps you focus and you know what you're doing, you know how to connect your lesson objectives with the course objectives, and you're moving towards a point. And your students will sense that, they will build upon it, and it will be helpful. Make your PowerPoints conversational, right? Not just your PowerPoint, but your whole class. Ask questions, listen, let the students talk, build upon their voices, and you'll build better rapport with them. Make your presentations good looking, and I'll show you in a second how to do that, and you'll see how easy it is. And then I had a question here for you guys to ask you, what tools do you use either within PowerPoint itself or Google Slides or outside that you use to make this task a little better? Do you guys have any favorite tools, both online and offline, that you use?
That's why I'm here.
That's why I'm here. Good. Anybody else? Let me see here. Anybody in chat? No? Okay.
Well, Photoshop
Yes.
typically, right? So
Photoshop.
yeah, so
That's intense.
use a lot of Photoshop, and because the PowerPoints I use are typically only pictures, and then almost no text, so pictures, and then build a class around it all the time. So Photoshop pictures sometimes to be, and then also like now AI, right? Creating pictures that you want, right? So to create evocative images that don't exist yet using AI, and then put them in your PowerPoint.
Canva can be a good free tool to create
Canva's
some
excellent.
good graphics, and they allow you to also do presentations through there, like a slideshow or something like that. So, and it's free,
Some of it.
freemium,
Freemium.
right? Like it has like some free
As soon
tools.
as you like something.
Yeah, exactly. Some parts of it are free.
Anybody else? Any other video? Video. Where do you find the videos?
So it depends on what I'm doing, but I may look for like just a little snippet of something, it might be from a film,
Okay.
and then I just convert it.
Good.
and embed it in there.
Yeah, you can embed them, you can link them. There's many ways of doing them. I found PowerPoint to be a little messed up when you embed like YouTube videos. Sometimes animations, they don't disappear, they don't appear. But it's good. Let's see here. I use movies sometimes, animations, very good. Yeah, you should use all the stuff that makes sense for your class. And the more things you use that are simple, yet they show something, they are better. Okay, good.
And also Jennifer, that she uses the automated design suggestions from PowerPoint.
That's the one. I'm going to talk exactly about that because that is such an essential tool. Sometimes it pops up and people see it, sometimes it doesn't, and people don't know about it, but it's such a cool thing. And then here, and the last thing I wanted to make sure that, right, PowerPoint, I'm not here to tell you just make these things fun and exciting. They have to teach, right? So make sure you're teaching what you need to teach, but pepper in some fun, something lighthearted, so it improves the classes. Okay, so these are some of my favorite tools to use, and these are within PowerPoint itself. Okay, so first one is Designer, and I'm going to show you what Designer is, and that's what the other person was talking in chat. So let me, can you still see this? Yes, you can. Okay, good. So here is Designer. So let's go to a slide. So let's pick this slide that is just a very basic slide. It doesn't do anything. And if you go to the Home tab, which is up to the top, home, so click on Home, and then it will be almost all the way to the right of the screen. There's this icon called Designer. When you click on this Designer icon, it just, PowerPoint automatically uses some form of AI to pick whatever text you have, give it some graphics, give it some things, and all you have to do is you just scroll through them, find something you like, click on it, and bam, you got yourself some design elements. And sometimes they're not so good, and you want to click and expand and make the font bigger. There you go, this looks a little nicer. I don't know. So Designer is a great tool. And as you can see, once I click the design, it already knows that that's my design and it's building upon it. If I do Option Z to do undo, and I'll go back to the original and we'll see back our original design suggestions. Let's see if we can find them. There's one that looks funny. What's this? What, there's a person there, but this literally uses this kind of AI. Sometimes it's generative, sometimes it's not, but it uses context and it finds description. So that's how you can make something that is super simple. Find Designer, look at your slide, it will give you lots of things. Sometimes you'll have to edit, obviously, from there.
Is it like iterative, generative? So like you select that one and close Designer and go back into Designer, or will it build off the fact that you'd kind of like that one and try to find
If I
things
make
that
a
will like
change to it, I believe it does. Let me change something. Make this a little smaller and let's try it again. Yeah,
that? Okay,
it's
yeah,
difficult. So now we're generating new. Hello, welcome.
I'm so sorry.
New slides. It's or generating new slide designs based on it. Anyway, this is an incredible tool, completely free. It comes with the software, and yeah. Let's look at another one. So to keep this one, minimize these rules. Okay, going back to presentation. There we go. So one was designer. The next one I wanted to show you is animations. Animations are really useful tool, and I'll show you how to use them right here. So the way you use animation, you'll select your text, usually your bullets, and then you'll go to the animation tab. And here you'll just click on one of these types of animations that are in this. These are entrance animations, and these are exit animations. Okay, so you can pick whichever you want. So let's pick this. As you can see, it shows you a quick thing. And now we have many animations because I had already animations on these. If you need to fix them, you'll have to click on animation pane, which is right up here. When you click on animation pane, it shows you all the different things that you have. I'm going to delete all these animations because we don't need them. I'm going to select my text again. Let's pick our,
White is good.
white. Do we want white?
White from left.
This one?
Sure. I can't see that far.
It's a me neither. Some difficulties. Let's pick this one. Whoa, check this
Yeah,
out.
that's fun.
Now, notice that when we go to the presentation, all these things will come out at once rather than one at a time. Very easy fix. All you have to do is you go back to the animation pane right here. It will pop up on the side. Select everything and then click on the start on click. And then it will order all of them. So then they'll come one at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now when we run our presentation, every click will be one of these animations, and they'll come in with the animation we've chosen. Okay, so those are animations. You can create entrance animations, which is what we've done. You can also create exit animations. So I can say, when animations appears, I want designer to disappear. You can do that by selecting it and then clicking the exit animation and then ordering them in the animation pane so you know when stuff's happening in the right order. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show is transitions. This is obviously super basic. All you have to do is you go to the transitions tab, you select all your tabs, Command A or Control A on a PC, and then you just pick one of these. Let's pick this random bars. And now every time we move past an element, then we're going to get these random bars. Let's see if you see them. There's some random bars, and actually let's go backwards. There's some random bars. Okay, and you can pick many of these kinds of animations. You can change the speed, the timing, right? But these are fairly basic. Okay. The other one, this one is really good. Most people don't use this. These are guides. If you've said Photoshop, you may know what these are. Guides are lines that you put on screen, and they help you do certain things. So let me show you. So go to View, and we will select guides. They are over here. It's just this little check mark. And here is a guide just appeared, and you can select it somewhere. Let's say I want this guide to be here. Why this is useful, if I bring in an image, it will snap to that guide, or I can align it to that guide. And then when I go to my next slide, let's say this is my next slide, this guide stays in place. So if I put another image, it can stay in that same place throughout, and you can add multiple guides. For example, we can right click on these. Go to the grid and guides, and then you can say add a horizontal guide. And here's another guide, and we may want to put, let's say, our name and date in this position, and this will appear in all your slides wherever you are. You're going to have these guides, and you can arrange objects within those spaces that will stay the same throughout all your slides. You can do this with the master slides, which we won't go into detail on that today, but that's another way of doing it using guides. I think guides are pretty cool. Again, not very often used. You also have grid lines if you want. Okay, good. Moving on. Another thing, cameos. Has anybody ever used the cameo feature? Okay, cameos, I'll show you what they are and you will see them immediately. These are also under insert and they're right at the end, right here, cameos. Notice what happens when I click on it. It adds in a little camera. And let me go to the previous slide and let's start this and you'll see what happens. So here we go. We're gonna go to the next thing and here I am. I appear in a little bubble. This works really well when you record PowerPoint. So PowerPoint has a feature where you can record your PowerPoints and it will record your camera like this with the cameo. It will record your voice. And I'll show you in just a second, there's a rehearsing option that is really a cool feature that I'm excited to show you. But anyway, this is the cameo. This works really well. Let's say you have an asynchronous class you want to teach your students. And this will remember when you press space or arrows. So it will show the presentation exactly how you were showing it. And thinking for these winter days that we had that were required to do asynchronous presentations, this is really good thing. I've used this when I was flying to a conference and I had a class that had to be asynchronous and I just created a PowerPoint. I pressed the record button, I had the cameo, and I just talked to the students and then I sent them the PowerPoint and it was great. So
Does it track over multiple slides?
you can insert it in all the different slides and then it will.
And then it just continues, so it constantly speeds the loop to the slide. Okay, nice.
It's really cool.
Panopto recordings too, so if you Panopto record the whole thing.
Yeah, if you put up the record, the thing will stay with you. You can, there are some actually really cool stuff. You can click on designer and it will show you different spots where you can put this thing in. So like if we
I like
load
that
it in
circle.
again, then now we've got either that circle or I'm part of it. Yeah. Anyway, so
That is cool.
yeah, it's a cool little thing.
It's really great. I did not know about that.
Then we have this next one, which is I think super important, which is the rehearse with coach. Has anybody ever used this before? Okay, I will show you this for just a little bit so we can get, actually, yeah, I'll show you. So we'll go to the slideshow option, which is up here. Give better presentation, it even tells me. Rehearse with coach, okay? So what you'll do, you'll click on this and it will tell you, hey, we're about to rehearse your presentation, and then you'll go to start rehearsing over here. Is that working? I can't see this. Show
It's a little
feedback.
teeny-
Yes, we want to see the show feedback bar. Okay, so I'm gonna click this. Click it. This is fantastic. I can't see it. Okay, coming from this side, I will just go.
Can you just press enter?
Because I think it appears behind it. I think you called. Oh,
Great. This is good. This is good. Let's remove the camera.
Yes.
Let's try this again. Come on, you can rehearse. I've done it in rehearsal. I have rehearsed it. Okay, now let's see. Are we on top? We're still below it for some reason. Oh,
I think it has to do with the zoom feature as well. Huh? With zoom panel. If you hide the zoom panel, if you go to the top right, and then you click that,
oh, I can't even click on that. Okay, let me do it from this. Okay,
and then
here we go.
hide floating meeting controls.
Hide names and hide
The
controls.
one below. Yeah,
Float.
that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
let's
might
try
only
this again. Rehearse with coach. Please, por favor. Okay, I promise you this works. I've done it. I'm going to find.
Probably because you're Zoom recording at the same time, so it's just a.
Yeah, there's apps are fighting.
Sorry, somebody's.
Dude, tell us what it.
Okay, so what it does, you start going through your presentation as you would normally, and there's an AI, some form of an artificial intelligence. I hate the name, it's not artificial intelligence, there's no intelligence, but it's a large language model that can do certain things for you, a nice algorithm. And it listens to you, your voice, it uses the camera to see you, and it will tell you, it gives you at the end a really nice report that tells you you're speaking this many words per minute. You're using inclusive language in your presentation. You are speaking with a varied tone of voice. So it does all those things that are kind of like the essentials of PowerPoint. It tells you how long you spend on each slide, how long you spend on the whole presentation, how many slides you've gone through. It's quite a thing. It's fantastic for academic presentations where you go to a conference and you need to present and you've got a specific time limit, let's say 20 minutes, and you want to make sure because you've got way too much information, because that's usually what happens, and you're like, I'm going to cram this whole thing in. You rehearse with this, you get your report, and then hopefully improve. So sorry,
So where was this again? This was under.
so this is under slideshow, and then it's called Rehearse with Coach. There's a version of this that's even better if you go to PowerPoint online. This works better there than the one in app. I don't know why that
Does
is.
it give any feedback on your PowerPoint or is it specifically on your presentation?
It's
of
your
it?
presentation, the oral part. It tells you if you're using too many ums and uhs and things like that. Yeah, it's quite good.
Do you have to have Cameo enabled in every slide or how does it?
No, you don't have to have any of that. It just automatically does all
So
that.
that
I
means
have
so
I have saved.
Probably access.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm assuming that the reason why it didn't work is because you're using your camera for the Zoom.
Yeah.
So it's not really being.
That might be it. I can't go
Yeah.
video outputs, yeah.
Yeah.
Computer might melt.
Yeah.
This is really good for grad students too, when they practice for
Yeah.
meetings.
Also for undergrads.
Oh, yeah.
So here is, this is an example of something I've done for just a few minutes. So I only rehearsed for 1 minute, 54 seconds. I went through 4 slides. It tells me that my pace of my voice is just right. Keep it up. It tells me the pitch, low pitch variation will make your audience lose interest. Try increasing the tone of your voice. So it tells you this is the moderate, this is the target. So I needed to be more excited, higher pitch. Let's see here, average pace, it's been good apparently. Nice work, your variety of word choice will help keep your audience engaged. Anyway, you avoided reading slide text aloud, so it knows the text and it hears your voice and it knows if you're just reading it. And then you can scroll down, I can't because this is a screenshot I took earlier. But you know,
That's cool. No, that's
It's cool. You know what? That would be also a great tool if you're requiring the students to present in class.
yes.
To do this ahead of time and submit this report to
Yeah.
you and then like improve upon it before they actually do it in class.
Also, that proves that they rehearsed it.
That proves that they.
Yes, it proves they rehearsed it. Yeah. So all these are great ideas. Then the other one is the subtitles. Have you all used subtitles in this? Oh my gosh, this is incredible.
It's a branch
Let
of
me see.
science. You really
So
don't-
subtitle, so we're gonna, so it asks you 2 options. What language do you speak? So you can present in multiple language, and then you can have the subtitles be in a different language.
That's cool.
So I can pick. What's a language we all know?
Portuguese.
Obviously Romanian.
Yes.
And then we can put them below the slides. I'm gonna speak English. Let's see, always use subtitles. And then when we click this button. Are we getting subtitles? Something's happening. Captions and subtitles.
Oh, there you are.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Now we can all hear and listening to what I am saying. And that is Romanian. I can tell you that it's actually fairly correct because I speak that. That is my language. There you go. And let's change the subtitle language just to have fun. And we'll put it to, what should we put it? Spanish. Something that
Can you
we
do
speak.
English so we can see how
Yes.
Portuguese.
And let's find English. Where is English? Let's see it.
There it is.
Let's give it a moment and see if these subtitles are correct.
This actually would work as well, because if someone does not speak English as a first language, it really would help them.
And it's a great accessibility, right?
Yeah,
People
just
hardly
in any
hear
class.
Right.
And
Whatever.
speaking of even what we are saying, not what just Constantine is saying.
Right.
Yeah, and oftentimes this actually picks up that there are other voices and it arranges them in a conversation. You can download these subtitles after your
That's
presentation, send them to your students. You can connect this with the recording app.
But this seems to be working way better than the Panopto subtitles, because the Panopto subtitles are horrible.
They're so.
Like, I mean, like, this is way better.
I have to say, I can't look at my screen when I have subtitles. It
Because
is
you get-
so distracting and it gets my mind just completely off. So I have to like look at some other camera or at my students because I can't watch them.
I wonder how you could include it, not though, because if you're recording your class, you're already using Zoom to record it, so, yeah, that's really.
Anyway, it's cool stuff, right?
Yeah, that is really neat.
Now, how did you? get
Like you
to
said,
that?
So you get to that,
Yeah.
you have your slideshow, which is this tab, this slideshow, and then you can pick subtitles.
Yeah.
But they'll always use subtitles box. And then you pick your own language and the language you want.
The only thing is we need to have to get the recording in the cloud to share to the students.
Anyway, so those are the tools I had selected for you within PowerPoint, and next I have,
Already, what?
what's that? Oh,
Wow, that was it?
that's it now? That's it? No,
I love the candy.
there's so much more.
And then the
There
reverse.
is so much more. All right, these are tools outside of PowerPoint. And as it's the rage nowadays, we've got artificial intelligence. And I've got a bunch of things that you guys can use. Have any of you used these? ChatGPT, the Bing AI one, or the Google Bard?
Only for about 500 hours.
Okay, so you have used these things, you know that they're interesting. Sometimes they get the right thing, sometimes they don't. Let me show you something kind of cool. So let's go to this guy.
Do you have a Pro account? Because otherwise it's probably overloaded at this point.
It's all good, guys. Don't you worry about it.
I heard a rumor that Trinidad is gonna start checking for these.
They're already doing it, but it's an arms race, right? Because there's
Right.
now already a second one that you can avoid turning it. So
Our question is to use the vocabulary from class and that cuts it out.
I actually encourage my students to use it. Like,
So I asked, oh, you guys
only for
can't see
only
this.
after the exam.
So I asked ChatGPT, can you help me use PowerPoints that don't suck? And absolutely, here's an effective use of PowerPoints. And actually, the thing you saw at the first slide was this. I just picked it from here. Obviously, I knew that stuff, and oftentimes this is not correct. So you have to be exceptionally careful with the way you use these, because while generally you're reading this like, this is amazing, sometimes it's not. You'll get wrong information and stuff like that. Anyway, so this is really cool. What I have used this, and it's actually been really helpful for my classes, it was when you take a long piece of text and then you can tell the gadget, the ChatGPT or whichever you want to use, summarize. This, and then you put colon, and then you give it some piece of text, it will summarize it for you. That's really helpful in the context of PowerPoints because you don't want to use the big chunks, you just use small things. So you can use summarizing functions and other such things. It's pretty cool. And the other one is this thing called Beautiful AI. Has anybody used this? So Beautiful AI is kind of like a PowerPoint that's made to use AI. So let me show you.
Beautiful dot AI.
Yeah, beautiful.ai, and it will create charts for you. It auto creates slides. So right away, you want to find some slides about something. Let's say this, who is Constantine Leclerc? You got to get the vanity, right? So let's see what happens here. Creating a biography slide title, a biography of Constantine Leclerc. It's finding some sort of images. And that is not me. It's a politician who served as the prime minister of Romania.
Wait, is that true? Because I've seen people do these and it just makes up something about
I'm
it.
gonna try this again because last time I was a movie director and it found an actual picture of me. So that was a little better.
No.
Let me-
Well, I can.
But
do
you
details.
get from school, right?
Yeah, maybe constitute from SMU or something.
Yeah. Let's Let's see if this does any better. And
It's thinking.
this is incredible. We couldn't have asked for a better thing.
You're professor of finance and.
I'm a professor of finance in Singapore. So,
And you're very good looking.
It's my picture, you're.
so you know why? It's because we're part of this together. And I bet it found my picture first and then
On
yours
the CT
second.
page.
Yeah, probably, you guys are listed everywhere, let's see if you think you guys.
Okay, no, two, I'm done. Now you gotta buy it. So, this is.
Like, maybe slide, what do you do with it? Can you like
So
download it into a PowerPoint?
you can download this thing as straight into PowerPoint, or you can use it their own system. It's like a PowerPoint in itself.
Okay.
It's like its own slides type thing. I don't know. So it works for other things. For me, for it's been really bad.
So is that the way you think, because Microsoft is currently integrating AI into, yes, right? Because I've seen that where based on a 10-page Word document, they made a 20-page slide deck that looked insane. And so it's probably this same technology what they're
But
using.
much better. Not this technology. They haven't bought these guys. They have their own thing. They're actually using ChatGPT in the background. I have there's a video about it.
Yeah, that video, that
It's
was
right here.
mind blowing to me. Look, it's going to take so much time.
Yeah, so this could be amazing, but we're not going to be watching this video, but this is Microsoft 365 Copilot. We're all going to be getting this as soon as it launches in some future. I don't know if it's near future or not.
It's a minute and 30 seconds, we can watch it.
Yeah, it is really good.
Oh, we won't be watching this. Okay. All right, the other thing,
Look it up though, like. Copilot 365.
yeah, Microsoft 365 is the new name for Office for some insane reason, but anyway, there's royalty-free images and Office templates. These are a bit not necessary anymore, the Office templates, because the designer just does it for you and it's fantastic. So as royalty-free images, these are actually still extremely helpful. And you've got the Unsplash and Petapixel, as well as Vect Easy and Flaticon.
And at the view, we have a license on Adobe Pictures. So
That's really good too, right?
So
Anyway, you can click through these and you can see tons. You can do any search on lots of things. Be careful to not do these live with students. That's why I'm not clicking on them now, because sometimes there may be things that are not.
Linda has her hand raised
Yes.
over there, so go into the podium, you should be able to unmute her.
Thank you. I hope I'm not
Go ahead.
interrupting too much to take time, but this is fascinating to me.
We're not hearing you, Linda, just a second. Let me see if I'm going in here. Oh, maybe let me try to connect to it without, let me try my computer. Just a second, Linda, you be able to talk.
You could also play a chat if
Yeah.
you want, or maybe now.
Okay, let's see. Say.
Testing, testing.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Oh, except for the echo, sorry. No, I just wanted to mention the Chat GPT and the AI. This is just immediately relevant to all of us. And my students are going to be having a debate on Monday that I've invited the campus, anyone that wants to come. So it's international students, working on their communication skills, but they're going to debate the pros and cons of Chat GPT, from the student and, and other perspectives. And we have our faculty and Ben Voth and the debate team coming in to help coach them. And we're going to throw everything we can at it and look at the advantages as well. So, just if there's a way to follow up, I can put my contact information in the chat, and then anyone who's interested could participate. And then I could also send out links for other departments, international students that might want some of the resources that we have. Plus
Go ahead and
Constantine,
connect
for
the
you,
chat.
a film screening on refugees coming up on April 8th that we're going to do on campus. So would love to collaborate with you on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I like that. Can you make it do that?
Disconnect from audio. Okay, very good. So again, these are excellent tools to help you find images about pretty much any subject. And the best part is that they are royalty free, meaning you can use them without having to worry about paying and such things. I was going to say about ChatGPT that it's good in lots of things, but it's also not good in lots of things. So you just have to be super careful with what it puts out and evaluate from there, right? Don't just take anything that it gives you, and I'm sure you guys know that. I do some programming on the side, like web design, and when it comes to programming stuff, questions about programming, it is phenomenal, like amazing. So in that, I have no reservations. When it comes to literature, I have lots of reservations. Slides Carnival is a fantastic place to find templates, PowerPoint and Google Slides templates. Again, maybe not super necessary anymore. Colors, this is a really cool place to go, depending on whether you like colors or not. Let me show you. This is called Adobe Color. And you could say that you want a specific color for your presentation. Let's say that we like this orange. Can you put one, please? So we like this orange. This is our initial color. And then you could do different kinds of color theory that you apply to it. And you can get different color palettes that then you can use in PowerPoints or other things. You can change these and you get using color theory, colors that match. You could use these for matching clothes or web design or any kind of work you may want to use. They are something fairly useful. What else? Color Hunt. These, they already do it for you. It's a website where you can find lots of different color palettes already made by other people. You can get the colors from them and use them as such.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
So let's, on that last one.
Yeah.
So what would be the next step? Let's say you really like that second one.
This
Then
So you click on it,
decimal.
you see these little codes. These are called hex codes. You can input them into any color wheel in something. So for example, if we like this one, we would have, you can create maybe a background that would include some of these colors. So you could have text that is a color that's more visible. And then you would use them together. I don't know. To me, as a graphic designer, they're super useful. When it comes to PowerPoints, if you don't use the designer function that does all this for you, then they can be useful. But otherwise, it would take a lot of manual labor of love to be like, I'm going to stick with this palette throughout.
Well, if
Do
it's,
you know if you did a slide with that, like manually put in your background image and some text or something, but then you went to designer, would it like then design things based around that color palette?
that's a good question.
It's very German, I like it.
We'll paste. No, that we'll see that later.
Almost gave away the gem.
Yeah. And you usually want to give some text, and then
I think you might have to actually make the.
you have to write more things.
I didn't see it like an image.
Yeah, you have to write more things, and then it would cue
And
in.
probably like in terms of like the workload, I've set this up with SMU colors, so that I took the SMU hexacodes and put them in a master slide,
Nice.
and every new slide deck, an Excel file or Word document has got all this, because these colors.
Mark your smart beans.
Yeah. He's got the good ideas. Okay, the other things on.
Can I ask a question about this slide?
Mhm.
Like what's
It's a bad PowerPoint.
well, that's what I'm gonna ask. Like, what's the point where you would say it's too much? Because to me, this list started to feel too long.
So it is too long, but this is meant more like an informational slide. It is not meant to be presented. it's meant to be like, go back to it and see it and click on it and send it to your students. So you can have a lot of information on some pages that you're not stressing out your students. And the thing that I like about animation specifically is when you go to this page, it starts with nothing, and then you're just paying attention to one thing at a time. If you were to present the whole thing and be like, look at the third from the bottom, then it's like way too much. But if you've got them where it animates, you're paying attention to the thing that, you know, it attracts your eyes with the animation, you're following it, you go to it, you discuss it, and then if you want to look up, you can.
But I guess, so that's very helpful, thank you. I'm kind of asking a slightly different question, or in my head, meant to a slightly different question. Because I'm wondering, like, at what point, somebody back there mentioned you couldn't even read it. Like, what's the point where you say this text is too small? I can't put this much because people aren't gonna be able to read it. Are there like guidelines for that?
I mean, you can always do a squint test. So if you squint and it like all balls up, I think it's a good given that you should limit
And
the
you know,
amount.
in a seminar a couple of years ago, and they said nothing smaller than 32.5.
Wow, 32, I was gonna say
Which is that
16
top
to
row.
18.
Nothing smaller than 32.
Well, I had not heard that number, but that's what I had heard elsewhere, is like basically not smaller than.
Just keep it like titles. I don't know, I think there's a preference. If you make it like that, then you can't put very much information on it. And sometimes for your classes, you will want to have more information.
Yeah.
I think this is, right about now, it's about the max that information. I would not
What's
go,
it font size?
this I believe is 14 or 16. It's too small. This is too small for what it needs to be. But the goal was different. It wasn't to present
Of course, yeah.
the
This is
goal
like
was
just
to
telling
show
me, yeah,
all the
But
different.
then this is a PowerPoint thing, that's why.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
How
I mean,
from a graphic design background, like usually they use a squint test. Any design that you do, if you're squinting your eyes and something gets too blurred, it's probably too small. You want to make sure that the bigger information that has more importance within the graphic is visible when you do a squint test. It's about hierarchy, right?
I feel like things get sharper when it's.
I know, right?
Well, maybe it's an age thing, whatever. This ruled in college and undergrad, so.
All right, I don't want to keep you guys beyond the time. So I hope that some of these tools have been interesting, maybe some of them new, and that you can use them to go on. I wanted to show you a video, but it was really inappropriate. Very short recording point. We'll stop the recording. I may show it to you later. It's fantastic. Anyway, so the main idea, PowerPoint is a tool. It doesn't have to own you. Don't put too much stuff in there. Have fun with it. Enjoy. Put some videos. Do things where it's exciting. And now here's the thing. So thank you for coming, listening, and participating today. And if you need anything, if you have more information, you can Google me. Just not on ChatGPT, and you'll find it. So thank you guys for.
Thank you.